I think it's kind of incomprehensible for a lot of our viewers to think of a world without YouTube, without internet, where you find out about wave dashing on the phone. But this it's not so long ago. I mean, it is long ago, but I mean, it's just to think of the generational leap between like how we played video games 20 years ago compared to now.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of tools, programs, just the internet just helps players now access combos, strategies. Whereas before you had to grind, you take it to the arcade, and it was very empirical how you had to get your characters to where they needed to be. It was through actually taking them, spending the money, and seeing whether this thing worked. You take it back home, you try some two things, but it was in the arcades where you'd try and work out what your max damage is, what combos work in what situations, and things like that. Which, as you're saying, is testimony to where we are now. I mean, you're saying FTPs. I think it was Maxi, the Swedish LD Maxi, the Swedish player at the time, who was managing the FTP. Where, and for us, that was the only place you could get to see anything internationally. FTPs or a very bad link on Daily Motion somewhere or something like that. But yeah, the video footage wasn't as accessible as it is nowadays.
I remember the first time I downloaded a match from the arcade called Fantasia, the South Korean arcade.
Yeah.
And I was just getting into Mishimas at the time, and I was basically shown the way by this Korean guy who kind of taught me, like, this is how how good Wavedash is, and these are the mix-ups and so on. And I loaded up this Fantasia video, and I think it was like Jang Iksu versus like Park or something. Remember that was the beef, right? Those two. And it was like, this is not possible. Like, I've learned the mix-ups, like I know, but the speed they were doing things at, and with the accuracy, and everything was just so pinpoint and so like remarkably accurate. How long do you need to train to get to that level of precision with every single thing? And it was just amazing the way they, it was just a marvel to watch them, really. And I think you appreciate even more when you can use Mishimas a little bit yourself, because you know what's going on and you know why you can't do those things, Yeah. So, but yeah, that definitely blew my mind the first time. You remember Steve went to Korea, and I remember being super jealous. I couldn't afford to go somewhere like Korea back then, and I was just thinking, man, I'm so jealous. But he brought back a VHS tape with all these Fantasia matches, and that was a crazy experience to see that.
It's bedroom champion syndrome, where within your walls you think, I know it all. I'm the greatest. Yeah. And then when you see something external, like it's so enlightening. It's so like you just it's like it's a wake up call. You realize whatever I thought I knew, there's so much more. And it's good though. I think that's testimony to the game, because I saw those matches as well, and I saw there was Aaron Dye and all these players. And I used to watch matches that these guys are playing in, where they're even playing with each other. They're not finishing combos; they're doing combos. Like just to play with each other. And even how they played looked OP. It looked so. I'm like, how are you doing that? And you're playing like that. That's, to me, that's a level of concentration. That's a level of seriousness. But these guys are playing with each other, like, and I think that. At the time, for me, when I saw that, it was really inspiring. It's like, I want to get to that level. I want to be able to play like that. You want to mimic it. You want to ingest that kind of play. But yeah, I mean, for us at the time, there was no one playing like that, or at least for me, because I'm talking Tekken tag days now. I felt I couldn't achieve that, especially I wasn't really a Mishima player. I mean, I'd use Heihachi, but I couldn't get the Wavedash. Like, there was so much that game offered. And it feels like such a steep climb now. And I'm wondering now how a new player would come on and learn all of that, because the game's very different. You had little things in that game where you had things called like Tembler, where if someone's upside down in the air and you hit them close to the ground, then the person can't tech roll and they have guaranteed hits. And little things like that I know it now, but at the time, these are the things that you had to learn. Whereas I don't think Tembler exists now in in
Sort of does.
Tekken in
It's
current
sort of
form.
Tekken 7.
To a degree.
Tekken 7, it sort of got it. It's the Tekken 7 is the only game where it's sort of come back.
It's a bit different now.
Yeah, but it's different. Yeah, it's different. So
Yeah.
I remember just learning all those little things, what it meant to be juggled face down, how it affects the way they fall, all these kind of little things that sort of made up, that gave Tekken little notches and little depths of gameplay.